So my younger self is probably crying tears of joy right now because I am in my hotel. Even though I am on the first floor of the hotel, my views are, and I have some Alps over here. Oh my goodness. So I believe I said before Switzerland was on my list, but I did not realize I'd be in Switzerland so quickly because I was not putting it high on the list because of how expensive it is. But I am in Switzerland. Won't he do it? But now we're just gonna get settled in, get cleaned up, and get to bed. Oh, let me share my room. This is the room. The bed is really low. I don't know if I will sleep comfortably on a low bed, but the colors are beautiful. Anyway, the beds are so small. I can't, but I'm sure I'll live. It's Switzerland. Anyway, it's beginning to look a lot like Switzerland. So this was our arrival in Switzerland. Our tour guide was explaining that Switzerland was one of the first countries to capitalize on their landscape for tourism. And trust me, they capitalized. Of the day. We just arrived in Switzerland. For the day, so I guess we applause when we get to Switzerland. I don't know. Today, just a couple. That also means our service station is about, let's say, half an hour away. So approximately half an hour away. We will be getting to our service station, which is going to be in Switzerland. That is our very first glimpse of Switzerland. Switzerland also means no more free toilets. It is gone. This luxury has been left behind. It is now going to cost you €1 or a Swiss franc to use the washroom, and many of these places will also the nature. So what Swiss have at their disposal and what they are milking, figuratively and literally speaking as well, is their nature. They were the first country in Europe to benefit. What is the cost like a bazillion euros? I can't capture this properly, but this looks like so that's how the Swiss also want that. If they're producing the biggest and most expensive production of watches, and of course we're not talking about Apple watches, although. So we have, or I have officially set foot on Swiss soil. Now, I thought about coming to Switzerland for the amazing nature, and it was one of those one day kind of thing. I never imagined I'd be here in 2024. So we just stopped at this rest stop so our bus driver can meet his mandated rest hours. Next stop is our dinner, or official Swiss dinner. But yeah, Switzerland, who knew? We were greeted with these amazing views, which were like something out of a postcard. These buildings with the backdrop of the Alps and this green grass seemed to me to be exactly what I pictured Switzerland to be. The music was playing on the bus, everybody was excited, and it was just an amazing vibe. I believe I'll be traveling by a tour bus from now on. I may have said it before, but I will say it again. I would not be surprised if everything we see in Switzerland was orchestrated. This water was too blue or green, and the mountains with the snow on the top, that was just too much. It was as if it was placed there. It was amazingly picturesque. It was gorgeous. You had to be there. My phone was not doing it justice because the sun was not out for many days on this trip. But when I tell you I was so happy, I enjoyed every part of it. I am from Jamaica, so I am no stranger to blue waters, but this water was green. I had never seen anything like it. So we have officially arrived in the real Switzerland. You know, because you can see the Alps from everywhere. And our hotel is right here. Everything has a backdrop of the Alps. This is beautiful. I am going to have a ball. Well, I'm going to kill my camera. That's what I'm going to do. We've already seen this part, so let me give a quick explanation of the accommodation. On the store, if you were not booed up, you had to share a room with someone else, or you could have paid for your own room. I opted for the paying for my own room, but after I heard the rates and realized that I'd be spending euros and pounds, I decided to opt for the shared room. Now, I kept my fingers crossed that I got someone who was agreeable, and I was very lucky. I got a young lady, about 27 years old, of Indian descent, lives in Canada, and she was just perfect. I hoped they wouldn't break us up for the remainder of the tour, and they didn't. But what stood out most to me was how small the rooms were and how tiny the beds were. I should not have been surprised though, because when I went to England for the first time, I could not believe how small the flats were. The rooms were small, the washers, the dryers, everything was so close together, especially in the flats. But anyway, these beds were so small. For the first night I was in Paris, I slept like two and a half
So the
hours.
whole
The
crew
next
is
night,
on the way
I
to
slept
dinner
a
right
whopping
now.
3 hours. In 2 days,
Did
I
I say
slept about
Switzerland?
five
It's in
hours. If
Switzerland.
you're thinking my face looked very tired many days over this
We're
duration
all
of this trip, it is because
walking
of
in this
that.
beautiful little
Anyway,
town.
so we were told we were going out to dinner. When we went to dinner in Paris, we did not get a
It's
chance to
really
get to
cute
the
here.
hotel to change. So I got to Switzerland and I was like, hey, I'm in Switzerland. When am I ever going to come back here? So I decided to, put myself together. To my surprise, I was probably the only person who went home and changed. I came out in my lipstick and everything and my shiny top, thinking I was going to dinner in Switzerland.
So where are we?
Yeah,
Yes.
you can either stand out on these trips or you can blend in with everyone else. And that's my other friend. We became close on the bus because one morning we had to leave so early that we did not get to freshen up our face. We had no eyeliner.
I think I'm having mushroom soup again. Okay, so chicken curry, cauliflower, and hope it's jasmine rice, and that's dinner.
I was constantly checking for my password and recording the videos. One among us was having a birthday, so we celebrated, then we had dessert, and then back to the hotel. So the next morning I got down to breakfast. I think I was a little late because many persons had had breakfast already, but I was so tired. I will tell you one thing, I was tired on this trip half the time because the first 2 nights I did not sleep, and then I work every night until midnight because it was 7 p.m. in the US at that time, and I close at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I had to keep working. But look how beautiful this is. That's the color that was actually there. I was not capturing it so well because the sun was not out, but it was a virtual postcard all around. Now, the Swiss breakfast was the best breakfast we got on this trip. It had everything. It had everything. My sister would have loved this. Even sweet peppers and cucumbers were available at breakfast. How about some Alps with your breakfast? Yes, please. I'll take two. We had a lovely terrace with a view of the Alps, and so some couples had their breakfast out there. I quickly grabbed my breakfast and threw something in my bag. Can you tell I could not get enough of this view? And my hair was doing what it was supposed to do. Well, most of what it was supposed to do considering the weather.
Okay, so we're leaving now to go to the mountain, and we're taking public transportation. So we are still in Interlaken. Interlaken. Oh, there it is.
They have the same thing, but they often close without like an awful lot of warning. So just make sure you have to keep pressing that button even if the door is open. Now in that button we're not all going to fit because I think it's about 16 or 20. I remember not the max people. So I will be the last one or the second, depending on how we fit.
One of the most annoying things on this trip for me was carrying around that black and white neck pillow. I carried it on the bus because some of our drives are very long and I wanted to be comfortable. However, I wish someone had told me about inflatable neck pillows before I went on this trip. I did not find out about it until the last day. But don't worry, I'll have it for my next
And
trip.
here we go in the train station.
We were on our way to Jungfrau, dubbed the top of Europe. It is not technically the highest point in Europe, just the highest navigable point.
If I'm grinning like a hyena, it is because I am here. We're about to get on the cable cars to get to the base of to get to the mountain. And here we go. Oh. Oh my god. Oh no.
That's okay because it's recording it already.
Stop it.
Do you want me to stop it? Yeah, it's recording.
So as I said before, there are about 52 of us on the bus, and these cars hold about 16 or 18 persons. So this was our car. We're about to get on, and we were all nervous and excited, and we were all recording videos.